Quick disclaimer, information in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to be treated as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare team before making changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation, or medication.
Listen in as Jeanette opens up about the overwhelm of conflicting advice online, how using a continuous glucose monitor revealed the true impact of her food choices, and why finding a supportive, evidence-based program made all the difference to her health.
Welcome to Type 2 Diabetes Talk, the place where we chat about what really works to treat type 2 diabetes and prediabetes naturally with nutrition and lifestyle. If you're looking to optimize blood sugar and A1C, lose weight, reduce medications, and improve your overall health, this is the place to be. Now, here's your host, Type 2 Diabetes Nutrition Specialist, Dr. Jedha.
Hello, wonderful people. Dr. Jedha here, and thanks for joining me for episode 88. I honestly feel so blessed in my job because I get to hear from our members all the time through our member check-ins and through their quarterly one-on-one feedback reviews. And I love hearing people's progress and helping with challenges too, of course, because it's not always smooth sailing when it comes to our health journey, right? But I love it when members put their hand up to meet with me to chat about their progress and results. In this episode, I'm chatting with Jeanette, who opens up to share her story, the journey of finding our program, the results she's experienced, and how much better she's feeling in life overall. You never would have known that Jeanette had never had a Zoom meeting before this. Like many members, they're always a little bit nervous when they first join our chats, but really, I'm not at all scary, and it was only a few minutes before Jeanette and I were chatting like a couple of friends who have known each other for a long time. If you're one of our members listening to this, be sure to reach out and let's chat, because it's always inspiring for other members and people outside the members community, like listeners of the podcast, to be inspired and encouraged by what's possible when you join us as a member. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll get straight down into the chat with Jeanette. A great place to start, I guess, is when you first came into being a member. One of the things you left was something like, you were tired of the information overload, and you talked about a little bit about family history. So you've got a family history of diabetes?
Yeah, both my parents and my sister all had type 2. My mom, she was around early 40s when she was diagnosed. She was great, though. I mean, she took it really seriously and really watched what she ate. She lost like 100 pounds, and eating-wise, she was an inspiration. My dad was probably 60 or 65 when he was diagnosed with type 2. And he lived until he was about 80. Well, he was 88. But those last 10 years, because of that diabetes, were horrible. I mean, he ended up with heart issues and kidney issues, and I mean, he went downhill so bad. It was not a good life those last 10 years. And my sister, I think she was in her 40s when she was diagnosed also.
That's interesting. So for you, when were you diagnosed?
I read through my after visit summary. They never said anything to me, but I read through my after visit summary a couple years ago, and they said, and that summary said I was pre-diabetic, and then I went back and saw that I had been like borderline for several years.
Okay, interesting. So the doctor never said anything to you about your diagnosis at all?
They didn't really address it at all. They did testing. They did glucose and lipid testing and A1C.
Yeah, so they did the routine testing, the fasting glucose, lipids, and A1C, but they didn't tell you that you were borderline or that you had any issues. So you had obviously no idea.
I felt fine. My weight was creeping up, but I felt fine. So
Yeah, and that's the thing, because often there are no obvious symptoms, even when blood glucose or A1C might be on the rise, or even if you have diabetes, which is why a diagnosis comes as a surprise to so many people. So how did you come to realize that you may be in some trouble then?
because of my dad, I was watching my fasting blood sugars, and those were what really bothered me. So I didn't really get concerned about it until my fasting was like 110 to 120. And I could not, no matter what I ate, it seemed like I couldn't get it lower than that. That's when I kind of got a little concerned. It's like, well, in my head, I heard all this. I've read a lot. Because of my history, but it didn't hit. It just didn't sink in until, okay, I've got to do something about this, even though I feel okay.
Thanks for sharing those challenges, Jeanette, because it can be a hard thing to take at first. You were feeling okay, and even though you had that background knowledge about numbers, your brain just wasn't clicking that you had prediabetes. And it's a good thing for other people to hear, because I know lots of people find themselves in a similar situation. It can be tough. So again, yeah, thanks for sharing that. So I wonder, how did you move forward from there?
It really helped. My husband had a foot surgery. He was going to be no weight bearing for 12 weeks. And he had the other foot done and ended up gaining a lot of weight because he was inactive. We didn't want that to happen this time. So I started doing a lot of research about diet just to stop the weight gain. I found out that you could get a CGM without a prescription now. So I got one, and I could really see what my blood sugar was doing when I was eating different things. And that was an eye opener.
Yes, monitoring with a continuous glucose monitor, it is usually a huge eye opener for everyone. And what were you eating before you joining the program?
Oh my gosh. When I started your program, I looked at how many carbs I was eating. I was cringing because I had a lot of rice dishes. I'm getting a little off track here, but like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago, I went gluten free. I had a lot of inflammation, and I went gluten free, and I felt so much better. So what I focused on for nutrition was gluten free. Just said, okay, if it's gluten free, I can eat it. Well, that probably did not help me at all.
Very true, very true. It probably wasn't helping at all, as you discovered by your CGM and understanding diabetes nutrition better once you joined us. But, something interesting to point out is the gluten-free thing. This is such a common problem. Many people think eating gluten-free means diabetes friendly, but of course, many gluten-free foods or products are higher in carbs than regular wheat options, as you discovered yourself. So basically, you're on that journey of looking for a solution to help your husband as well to avoid that weight gain, and you'd started seeing some eye-opening data for yourself, and then you came across us and discovered our program?
Having that EGM data, knowing how my glucose was spiking really high for some of this food, I thought I have to do something about it. But first few things I looked up, yeah, they sounded very interesting, but they were sales pitches. They They made you, they hooked you in. They gave you a free podcast or class, and then to continue, you had to spend a lot of money. Like there was one that was $1,500 for 12 weeks. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. They basically gave you a list of foods that you could eat. And then they had a Facebook group so you could have conversations with the other people. I was getting a little like, should I even keep looking? Because there were so many of them. But I kept looking. And that's when I found your site. And your site seemed like you had so much more resources. But yeah, I was so happy to find your site. You have a lot of resources and everything makes sense.
Well, I'm so glad you found us. And, we've heard similar stories from other members like this. You go down that rabbit hole on social media or the Wild West Web, and there are so many con jobs out there. You really do have to be careful. I mean, one of our members paid $5,000 for some program, and when they joined us for such a low price, they honestly couldn't believe it. They said our site offered way more resources and proper support than what they paid for the $5,000 they dished out. And I mean, I just can't imagine. I mean, I can, but I can't,
Yes. Though I didn't really trust a lot of what was being said on other websites because they seem to be in it for the money, right? I mean, it sounds so crass, but yes, that's what it seemed like.
Right, and you're probably spot on because it is. They don't care. So, in saying that, what's been your experience then of joining us and being a member?
Every time I had a question, there's the library, there was the feedback that like when I first came in was great timing because it was like a weekly feedback. And that was when I had all the questions. So that was perfect. And then, the recipes. Oh my gosh. There were so many recipes I tried that were just absolutely wonderful. And, my meat and potatoes husband actually ate them. Oh, so it's good.
That's great, yeah.
And, and it's just, I felt so much better. And then it seemed like I could think better after like a month or so. Well, probably less than a month. I wasn't as tired and I could think clearer. That's when I actually started looking at some of the extra information you had on the classes. And by that time I could trust you, or the website, both. That I felt like it was not something that was just being said just to have a following, or it worked. It worked. And so I knew from what I felt and what I was doing and the results I was getting that it worked and it was true.
That's so fantastic, Jeanette. You've used the member check-ins to get that personal feedback, and you've explored all the resources and discovered that we are real people who do actually care. And so I guess that brings us to the results. So can you talk about what your results were 4 months ago and what they are now?
When I started looking at the trying to eat better, in November, my weight started at 252. I joined at the end of December. I had lost 7 pounds, so I was down to 245. I was already feeling a little bit better. But once I started on your program, that first month, I think I lost 11 pounds. I don't remember exactly. But I weighed yesterday just so I could get a number for you, to 18.6. My A1C before the program was 5.7, and this last one was 5.4. Cholesterol, I don't remember the last time I had a cholesterol less than 200. For at least 15 years, it's been over 200. So last year was, you probably have the numbers there, 236, I think it was.
Yeah, 236, that's right.
And it went down to 189, and the lipid profile just looked amazing compared to for the last 15 years. It just looked amazing. And so basically when she looked at it, she said, well, we kind of like the HDL a little higher, but keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, that's so exciting, isn't it? It's great when you get the confirmation back from the doctor that you're doing everything right. And of course, you can't deny when those results are actually there. I mean, your health is improving in so many ways.
I feel better. I have more energy.
That is just so wonderful. I can just see it in your face as well. I love that about meeting with members. It's because it really changes your life, doesn't it, on so many levels?
Yes, it does. I feel like I can do more, and I enjoy things more. You can do more that you want to do. I've been able to do a lot with grandkids. It's
Yep.
I guess I don't want to focus on food, but even trying the new recipes, it's so enjoyable.
Yeah. I think, was it you in the last member check-in in just recently that said it's so much more enjoyable, like all this fresh food, and how much more enjoyable it becomes?
It is.
Well, keep on going. You're doing everything right, and I just can't wait to hear more progress as you go along. But thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, it's really a lot. I really did not know who to believe after all the stuff I read, all the stuff I listened to, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to believe anymore. But now I do.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And thank you for sharing with others to get the word out, helping me as well, so we can make sure that people do actually get the right information. That's the hardest thing too for someone for us, because we are genuine and trying to get through all that social media noise and everything else that's out there. It really helps when members step forward and are prepared to share their story, because people really love that and can see what truly is happening. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
What a fantastic conversation with Jeanette. I really appreciate her openness in sharing so many parts of her journey, from discovering she was pre-diabetic almost by accident to realising that information overload and all those conflicting messages online were leaving her more confused than ever. Her story is a great reminder that even when you have knowledge, like Jeanette, knowing the numbers or seeing her family history, it doesn't always sink in right away. Sometimes it takes that personal tipping point, like noticing fasting levels creeping up or seeing your loved ones struggle, to finally spark real change. And it's also so encouraging to hear how once Jeanette started making changes, choosing better foods, exploring new recipes, and using the program's resources and support, everything started to shift. Her A1C, cholesterol, weight, energy, mental clarity, enjoyment of food, and even her ability to keep up with the grandkids all improved. It's a powerful example of how progress in your health can ripple out to every part of your life. Now, I usually like to ask people what advice they would give others wanting to make changes in their life, and I forgot to ask Jeanette on our call, but I did circle back via email. At first she said she'd made quite a few mistakes in her life, so didn't feel qualified to give advice. And I reminded her we've all made mistakes. Sometimes the best advice comes from lessons we've learned the hard way, because it can help someone else avoid those same pitfalls. In any case, Jeanette did share her thoughts, and she said, "If life gives you the opportunity to be healthier and happier, be grateful and don't let the opportunity pass you by." Change is hard, but once you start feeling better, it gets a lot easier. She added that might sound cliche, but she believes it to be absolutely true. There's so much to look forward to. And I couldn't agree more. It might not feel like that for you right now. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed by a diagnosis or stuck in a place that feels like a deep hole you can't climb out of. Or maybe you feel like you've tried everything and nothing is working, and it's tempting to just give up. Please don't. Your next breakthrough might be right around the corner. So keep taking small steps, keep learning, and keep reaching out for the right kind of support. Like Jeanette said, be grateful for the opportunity to change and embrace it. Because the payoff is not just in the numbers, but in how much more fully you get to live your life. Thanks so much for listening, and to Jeanette for sharing. Until next time, take care and keep putting your health first. Dr. Jedha, over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to Type 2 Diabetes Talk. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. And for episode replays, episode notes, and more, visit type2diabetestalk.com. New episodes are available Tuesdays, 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, or your time zone equivalent. Thanks again. We're truly grateful to be a part of your life and help make a real difference.